What else is on the agenda tonight? The Webby Awards. The computer age gives way to the hybrid age, and the New York Public Library on your iPad. But first, here are this week's 5 online video picks. Our first, I wonder if the New York Public Library is a smart building. Just this week, the main building of the New York Public Library at 5th Avenue and 42nd Street celebrated its centennial. But the library is trying. It's not resting on its lions. It's making some bold moves into new technology, including the creation of an iPad app that's been getting rave reviews. This is how the New York Public Library presents it.
What if you could hold in your hands countless one-of-a-kind treasures held within the legendary stacks of the New York Public Library? What if you could turn over, zoom in, flip through, and explore more than 700 items, and even access rare film and sound archives? Biblion, the boundless library, lets you do all this within a charted world or infoscape of the vast collections of the library, the stacks. This launch edition showcases one of the largest and most used collections, the 1939-40 World's Fair, the World of Tomorrow, contained here in 2,500 boxes. New visual pathways into the stacks now lead to infinite narratives and unexpected connections. An exhibition wall is your entry point into storylines that emerge when original sources are given shape. Now you can see how the World's Fair, like the library, has something for everyone. You'll find a world dealing with economic crises and war, to starlets, to pop culture, and technological innovation. So enter the world of tomorrow and see a real visualization of the items that make up stories, ranging from text-based essays to galleries. Let's check out 48 typical families, chosen from each state for their perfect all-American values. You can even read their applications. Or just scroll forward to the final winning family. To read more about them, rotate to Reader View. Flip up on the navigator, and you can even hear radio interviews.
Some grand people, some neighbors of yours.
Now let's say you want more of a guided tour. Here's an essay by food scholar William Grimes, who shares gastronomic tales he found here, to run a sandwich stand.
Joining us now to look more closely at the Biblion app is Deanna Lee, the Vice President of Communications and Marketing at the New York Public Library. With us via Skype is Phillip Tiongson, the co-founder of Potion, the design firm that created Biblion. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Deanna, the old bricks and mortar library with the lions out front, getting into innovative iPad apps.
Who'd have thunk it? Well, you know, you mentioned our centennial, and the theme is Find the Future, and the library has always believed that, you know, by knowing the past, you find the future. So this is perfect for us.
We saw some examples in the video, but we have an actual iPad on the set, which has the Biblion app loaded. You want to give us a few screens of example?
Yeah. This is one of many covers. There are so many items in this first edition of the Biblion magazine. This is from the 1939-40 World's Fair collection, as you heard, and there are some 700 items here. So you could never read it all in one sitting, and so there are probably some 20 different covers you might get upon each loading. This is one of them. We've purposely made it so that it's like you're going into the stacks. I think Philip will tell you more about this, but the whole metaphor is taking you into the stacks, into the library, into a museum, just as if you were walking around, because what these wonderful immersive technologies do is that they allow us to feel that we're in a space. Original sources can actually build worlds. And so that's what we've done. If we start with the exhibition wall, we like to call it an exhibition wall versus a table of contents, because when you go to a museum, an exhibition wall, it's usually text, but it gives you entree into the exhibit. It gives you orientation, and that's what this does here.
Philip, as the designer of this, it's been described as a multilinear, immersive experience, multilinear immersive experience. What is that fancy language for?
Well, I think that one of the interesting parts of Biblion is because it's a digital thing. It's not a physical book. Biblion really has no natural beginning or end. You can always be somewhere inside it. You literally dive into the content and can become immersed in it. So that's where the immersive experience comes from. As you're traversing the stories, you can encounter many stories, but they exist in parallel. So you can fluidly move between them. And as you move from story to story, you actually jump around these linear stories. And so it creates this multiple storylines that are multilinear.
So there's no right or wrong way to navigate around.
That's correct. It was really designed for an open-ended exploration and to help you discover new content. As Deanna said, every time you open the app, the cover changes, shows you new stories, and it's like a magazine that always opens to a story you've never read, and we can do that because it's a digital magazine.
So let's take two quick examples. Deanna, there's multimedia content in the app. You want to show us a little bit of that?
Sure. Let's go into one of my favorite sections, the World of Tomorrow. Technology was a whole section at the fair. Many fans of the fair know about Futurama. One particularly fun exhibit was the Westinghouse time capsule. This is, by the way, still buried in Flushing, and it is not to be opened until the year, let's see, 6,939.
Like the Mets.
Exactly. So if we go to the end, again, we're showing you the actual content. It's like going into the stack. So you can see text and photographs and memos, but this red line at the end means that there is multimedia. And if we go there, this is a video of a family called the Middletons visiting the time capsule.
And there's a reality TV show in this somewhere.
Yes. Well, I have to tell you that this is a Westinghouse-produced film, and the Middleton family was indeed a staged family, shall we say. But the exhibit was real, and the time capsule, as you see, was something that anybody could walk up to and look down into to see how it was buried. You couldn't see the actual items, however.
Philip, your company has designed for bricks and mortar museums like the Museum of Jewish Heritage here in New York. Are there more parallels or more differences between designing for that and designing for an iPad?
I think, well, we came to interaction design with the idea of putting information into spaces. And the iPad has this unique quality in that it can inhabit lots of different places, and we want to bring it with you. You want to bring it to bed. It's comfortable. And I think it has a lot more in common with a physical exhibition than actually a book. And so our experience in that physical world has really come to bear on this.
Did the library give you instructions and tell you do this, do this, do this, or did they not even know what to ask you for as a cutting-edge designer?
I think that the library was very open to new ideas, and I think when given this project, what we really wanted to do was show the power of the device, to show new avenues and new ways of exploring that maybe other companies have explored already. Why would we do that? We only have one chance to make something new, and we were really glad that the New York Public Library had the courage to try a new kind of design.
And as people may have heard in the background, that family video
Yes.
finally loaded. Let's just see a few seconds of it before we run out of time.
New York World's Fair on September 23rd, 1938 by the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company. If anyone should come upon this capsule before the year AD 6939, let him not wantonly disturb it.
And that was actually shot in 1939?
It was.
Wow, and now part of an iPad app.
Yeah.
So the last thought is that this is actually the first edition of what's going to be an ongoing series editions of free magazines from the library called Biblion. This is not just a 1939 World's Fair
This is
exhibit.
just the beginning.
thank you very much for coming in
Thank you,
and sharing.
Brian.
And congratulations
Thank you,
on the 100th birthday of the library.
Thank you.
Philip, thank you too. And finally tonight, you may know the series of Big Hug videos in which people from all walks of life embrace total strangers. People are surprisingly receptive. But can a big star from the Boston Red Sox, Big Papi, David Ortiz, succeed at big hugging Yankee fans in the Big Apple? Sounds risky.